Hello and welcome to VBC Daily 3. I'm Larry Howard. I'm the executive pastor at Valley Bible Church, and I hope that you had a great Thanksgiving weekend, and we are launching into our Christmas season. So I am going to say Merry Christmas. I hope that you have wonderful holidays coming up, and I'm going to advertise something real quick. Starting on December 7th, we will have Christmas in Hercules begins, and that's a drive-through. So if you're in the Hercules area, there's a drive-through presentation of Christmas in Hercules, the birth of Christ, and you should come out and check it out. I think you'll love it. Let's get to our passage now. Our passage today is Matthew chapter 7, verses 1 through 5. Matthew chapter 7, verses 1 through 5. And as we typically do in our format, we read the passage 3 times, and then we look and see, what does it say about God? What does it say about us? And then what are we to do? In this passage, I'm telling you, what it says about God is that, and now it doesn't say this specifically, but I think the element is there. And that would be that you aren't to judge. Leave the judging of man up to God. All right. And he very clearly states this is Christ talking in the passage, and he gives us some direction. He gives us some direction on how we're to look at one another and how we're to judge. If you're judging, he says don't judge, actually. Now, does that mean you never have a judgment that you make about something? A plus B equals C. I mean, there's some judging that way. But when you're judging, especially when you're judging your Christian brothers, and I think that this passage is great for those of us who consider ourselves critics, professional critics. We're not criticizing. We use that terminology a lot of times. Well, I'm not criticizing. I'm critiquing. I'm trying to make you better. And so in the passage, we see his example that Christ gives us is one that as I look at other people and decisions that they make or things like that, if I recall this passage, I look at things a little differently. And I think that's probably, there's more in it. First of all, don't judge. Don't be judgmental, is what he says. That's one of the things for us. It's Christ talking, so he's giving us instruction, okay? So that's what it says about God. He is God, and he's given instruction on how we're to judge. And what does he say? Well, don't judge. In the same way that you're judged, remember that, you will be judged. And that is an incredible thing to keep in mind when you're making judgments on people. But the thing that he says that I just went, oh my goodness. Every time I look at this passage, it should be one that all of us memorize, and we should know this as we contemplate and think about what other people are doing. But he says, you should be careful about the speck that you see in someone else's eye. A speck of sawdust, that's pretty small, but when that gets in your eye, that is very irritating. But he says, you be careful about the speck of sawdust in your brother's eye while you have a log in your own eye. And that should stop us from being judgmental. Just that terminology all by itself. Get the plank out of your eye. Get the log out of your eye before you start worrying about a speck of dust in someone else's eye. So that's what it tells us. I mean, I think it's all wrapped up. And now what are we supposed to do about it? Well, it's very obvious what we're supposed to do. What it says about us and what Christ giving us instructions gives us a pretty clear indicator of what we should be doing. Don't be judging, lest you be judged in the same fashion. And then be careful if you're judging the speck of sawdust in someone else's eye while you got a big old stick hanging out of your own. There you go. So, and it ties into what Pastor Manny spoke about with the adulterous woman. Amazing how we can be very critical of other people, and how we can be critical about someone who, but by the grace of God, would we be in that same circumstance if the Lord hadn't intervened in our life? And so I love that passage, and I love that this ties that together. Like, hey, be careful how you judge others, lest you be judged. And then get the dust. Don't worry about the dust in their eye when you got a plank in yours. All right, okay, so that's it. I'm done with that. So make sure you join us tomorrow. I hope that you really took a look at this passage and that it will, you'll employ it in your daily walk. And be with us tomorrow as someone will be leading us through prayer and then back again on Wednesday for some more Bible passage. All right. Thanks a lot. Merry Christmas again.